listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome to another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome all my newbies. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, reciprocity, and positivity. And I'm your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. I call my regular listening audience my narrators, and they're already up to par with my format and the type of content to be expecting from my podcast. But before diving into the content, I'm going to give people who are not familiar with me or my platform a brief overview of my format and my content before diving into the content today on the Narrative Podcast. So to kick things off, I guess you got to take it from the start, the top. Let's start with the name, the Narrative Podcast. Name my podcast the Narrative Podcast as I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original culture. So what I want to do is design a platform to kind of remedy that. And what I do here on the Narrative Podcast is basically, the complete opposite of what the media does to my people and my culture. I just basically cover everything going on with our people and our culture from, a positive lens, while the media focuses a negative lens on our people and our culture. I want to create a platform where I'm focusing on the positive instead of the negative. So this is a positive space. The core mission of the Narrative Podcast is basically to uplift and edify my people and culture. As a matter of fact, that's the perfect segue for my tagline. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes? By providing positive frames of reference. And that's entirely what my podcast is about, providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And by our, I mean original people. I'll get to the original part in a second. But, some more little misnomers. The media is, they're evil and wicked, they're diabolical. They primarily misrepresent our people and our culture to sell news, of course. Because let's face it, there's not too many people as exciting and effervescent as we are as a people. It's like anything we do is newsworthy. But unfortunately, the most newsworthy things are negative things. So, the media is always, propagating negativity. They're always playing up in negative stereotypes and placing stigmas over our people in the way of how they portray our images and likenesses across media platforms, movies, televisions, radio, also literature. Books, periodicals, or just an intentional negative portrayal of our people. So, that's one reason why they do it. Another reason why they do it is to, control the minds of the masses. The media is a big, psychological weapon. They use these images, these negative images of our people and our culture. Mentally, how that affects us is they desensitize us to violence. They dig into our self-esteem, the way how we view ourselves, and how we respond to one another. Because like I said, they desensitize us to violence, and they also, kind of psychologically program us to normalize things that aren't normal. And we do that, we embrace, normality within our culture. We embrace, poverty and struggling. We embrace, fighting each other, killing each other, holding each other back. Like we embrace that and normalize it. And that's, what we've been programmed and conditioned to do by the media. Like they do it to everyone, really. But they especially like doing it to us the most because they fear us the most. They do this to help the higher echelon, wealthy, aristocrat type people maintain their positions by making themselves appear to be superior in intelligence and morality. And they do this by making everybody else seem, unintelligent and degenerate when it comes to morals. So basically they try to make wealthy Caucasian people look like the saviors. They're here to save humanity, and this is what you should model yourself after. And like I said, they do that to everyone, but they especially do it to us, my people, the most. And the reason why they do it to us the most, because they fear us the most. And why are they so afraid of us? Because they know their history, how they acquired everything they have. And they know our history. Meaning they know what we contributed to civilization in the world, and, our former state of prominence we occupied at the beginning of civilization. And so their biggest fear is once, we stop fighting each other and start unifying and mobilizing, we'll reclaim everything they took from us and, do to them what they've done and are doing to us. But it's an ill-gotten fear, because our people, we don't have a history of raping culture. We don't have a history of forcing our ideas and beliefs on other people. We don't have a history of claiming things that are not ours and claiming it for ourselves. We don't have a history of, conquering and declaring war and taking things by force. That's not us, that's them. Our history, the only thing we've ever done is teach and love. That's what we have a history of doing. We have a history of teaching enlightenment in the ways of academia, in the way of religion, the way of spirituality, in the way of psychology, philosophy. Pretty much we created everything. Written language, the spoken language. Everything starts with us. So, my primary focus for the Narrator podcast is what I want from my listeners to get, if they don't get anything else out of my content, is the importance of sharing positive news about original people and original culture. Because as I said, the media intentionally puts out negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. So, and I already told you why they do it. So I feel like, especially in our culture, we should utilize our platforms to, make ourselves the heroes, because the media has already vilified us and demonized us. So, when we come to telling our own stories, we need to be the heroes. We need to, show positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Because it's an inherent agenda to demonize us and vilify us. So how do we look as a people if we're embracing these negative stereotypes and stigmas that they place over us? If we're, because we're living in the digital age, nowadays, and we're judged as a person. Unfortunately, this is the negative effect of living in the digital era. People kind of make assumptions. But it's true, whatever you post online is your carbon footprint in the era that we're living in. People associate you by what type of content that you're posting online. So how do we look as a people if we're constantly posting, things that embody the negative stereotypes that the mainstream media has placed over us? It's like we're quietly accepting these labels put on us by, posting gang culture, gun culture, violence culture, degenerate culture. It's like we're, quietly saying, yes, I like that. I approve this by posting it online. And as a matter of fact, like I said, the media is evil and wicked and diabolical, but it's also a business. And the first rule of business is supply and demand. And so they see us posting and clicking on all these, negative, degenerate websites and negative, degenerate content. What they'll do is, that's how they justify these crappy television shows, these crappy movies, negatively depicting our images and our likenesses. Because, like I said, it's a business, and that's how businesses, create content. They do their statistical research based on what people are posting and what they're clicking on online. I think they're called cookies. So they go through your browser history and they create content to facilitate what they believe you're interested in. So they believe from the content that we post online and the things that we click on when we're browsing, they believe with their statistical research, we want to be represented like that. We accept these negative stereotypes that they place over us. We want to be portrayed like that in movies and television shows, in commercial advertisements. That stereotypical, black person. So that's why it's important to post positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Just responsibly utilize, your platforms to portray our people and our culture in a positive light. Okay, next order of business. So, Narrator Podcast is a positive space. I don't endorse, condone, or, circulate gossip. I think gossip is, destroying our people. Like I said, the media has us brainwashed into fighting one another. They also got us brainwashed into believing, talking bad about another original person will garner you, a bag, money. They incentivize it. They actually do incentivize it. They'll pay you to, get in somebody's comments, slander somebody online, create rumors, create lies, create gossip about your brother and your sister. And, we kind of do their job for them, unfortunately. But, I try to discourage against that on my platform. I try to basically encourage people to say something positive about your brother and sister online rather than drag them through the mud. I try to stay away from gossip. So if I ever bring up a brother or sister's name that's famous, it's not clout chasing, it's not definitely not trying to drag them through the mud and air their dirty laundry. This is basically, when I do that, is to bring a point home that I'm trying to make. And the point I'm always trying to make, the perspective that I unpack everything, is through, our lens, from our perspective as a people. So, and the perspective that I'm coming with is, yes, we do have this problem, and yes, we do engage in this and that and whatever, but it's because we've been programmed and conditioned to do this by the powers that be, that we do X, Y, and Z, like this person, like that person. Just to, illustrate a point that I'm trying to make. And that's the only time I really bring up a brother or sister's name. It's never in a negative way. So I don't try to encourage gossip. Another thing is, I refer to our people as original people, as opposed to black. I'm not ashamed of being black at all. I love it. Can't picture myself being anything other than black. But, I feel original is just more historically accurate, and it also unifies us as a people, because we originated everything we currently use in modern day civilization. Our people invented it. You can trace the roots back to us, early civilization. Like, we literally was doing it first. And then probably like another culture got the credit in the history books, but it was really, we perfected whatever. Also, we was on the planet 5,000 years before everyone else. So we was here first, like scientifically, mathematically, and, not only that, we inhabited all corners of the globe originally before other civilizations. And contrary to all unpopular belief, we didn't get there via slave boats. I mean, slavery, chattel slavery did happen. It was a real thing. Slavery did exist, but, you know, in the beginning, in civilization, you know, when civilization began, we was like on every corner of the globe in the world already. Like, we was already there. When you really do your, you know, knowledge, we was like pretty much already inhabiting like pretty much every corner of the globe. So original in that sense, and then also original is because I believe it unifies us as a people. Because like I said, there's so many different types of us, hailing from so many different land masses, believing in so many different things, having so many different perspectives and upbringings and, you know, beliefs and value systems. But one thing we all have in common, we were here originally, and we can all trace our lineage back to the origin point for mankind. Like, we're all, like, mankind originated from, you know, we can trace our lineage back to the, you know, birthplace of civilization. And that's why I refer to our people as original people versus black. If you want to call yourself black, go right on ahead. I'm not trying to discourage you or say my, you know, philosophy is better than your philosophy, or I have more knowledge than you. I just feel like, you know, it's more historically accurate to describe us as a people. That's all. Next thing, my platform is time sensitive. So I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. And the purpose of me doing that is to help my content be more digestible. Also to help me stay on task and to prevent me from, you know, talking in circles and going on side tangents. Just really, you know, to interconnect all the points that I'm trying to make. And so just to, you know, so listening to my content, it'll just flow nicely, and, you know, you won't be, you know, wondering what I'm talking about. You won't lose your place. I won't lose my place, you know, speaking. You won't lose your place listening. Like, oh, well, how did we get here? We were just talking about. And so that's why I try to keep it just short and to the point. Also, another reason is because I'm an audio platform. So I got to think of ways to keep my audience captivated. And you can't keep your audience captivated if you're just droning on and on and on. Because nobody wants to sit up and listen to somebody just talk for hours. So that's why I try to make it as short and brief to the point as possible, to make it more digestible and to keep the listening audience captivated. And also to appeal to, you know, all different demographic types. No matter what, you know, your intellect level is, you can listen attentively to the content on the Narrative podcast. That's what I'm bringing to the table. So I'm not shooting over anyone's head, and I'm also not dumbing myself down. So I think you got the gist of my format. So without any further ado, here I go, diving in on the very first section of the Narrative podcast. Is my promo section. Now this section, what I'm doing here is I'm opening the door for any original person that owns and operates their own business, has a product, service, or an event that they would need or would like promoted, the opportunity to reach out to me to get some promotion. And the promotion that I'm offering is 110% free. The reason why I'm doing that is to help, you know, do my part to help circulate the original people dollar within the original people community by letting my audience know that a business, product, or event or service exists. Like, you can't patronize a business if you don't know the business exists. So I'm like, I'm extending the olive branch, helping the original people, business owners that own their own business, expand their business and, help the community in the process. So if you need or would like some free promotion, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail at poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo. In the body of the email, be descriptive as possible. Let me know any and everything about your business, product, service, event that you want promoted. And, for that, the advertisement will be, more accurate. So, include specific details, like if you got a brick and mortar location, the hours of operation, how many people is it hold, do you rent the facility out, etc. If you're online business, give me the link, what type of product they're going to expect to see online, and, your contact information, how to get a hold of you, if they want to speak directly to you or, whatever you want known about your business, product, or service. So I'm going to run it back one more time before diving into my second section here on the Narrator Podcast. Second section coming up. This section is called my contest section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm actually hosting a contest exclusively for my podcast, the Narrative Podcast. In this section, what I'm doing is just, trying to appeal to listeners. It's basically a incentive reward type thing. I'm giving away a prize for participating in the content, listening to the Narrative Podcast. I'm giving a prize away, just kind of to interact with the listeners, an interactive project, if you will. I guess, to be as simplistic as possible, it's an interactive project. It shows me you're listening and that we're communicating with one another by entering the contest. So what I'm doing is I'm giving away a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item simply for participating in the contest topic. And the contest topic is to describe for me your most recent shopping while black experience. And for that, you will get a reward of a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item simply by entering the contest. I'm not charging any money for the contest, and the name of the contest is called the Chew On This contest. And so it's like a double entendre, a play on words. It's chew on this because your prize is something you can eat or chew on, and then also the subject matter is something you got to ponder. And when you're thinking about something, sometimes people say, "Oh, well, let me chew on it." So that's why I titled it the Chew On This contest. But to enter the Chew On This contest, hit me up. I'm using the same email address, by the way. The way I'm separating them, though, is through the subject bar, so please pay attention. So to enter the Chew On This contest, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail at poeticpassion.host. And in the subject bar, type Chew On This / or dash shopping while black or SWB in all caps. Body of the email, make sure to include your most recent shopping while black experience, of course, your mailing address so I know where to send your prize, and then include what type of prize you would like. Like, what type of snack food item do you want as your prize? And that's all you have to include in the email when you enter that you want this contest. And so I run it back one more time before going on to my next section. So to enter that you want this contest, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type chew on this / or dash shopping while black. If you don't want to type the entire word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps. In the body of the email, make sure to include your mailing address, your most recent shopping while black experience, and then what type of snack would you like as your prize for entering that you won this contest. All right, that's it and that's all. So got those two I'm still not saying it. You know what I'm trying to say. The two warm-up, I still can't say. My mouth is so tongue-tied. I'm not going to keep on trying to say it, but you know, damn. You know what I'm trying to say. The rounds will come first. You know what I'm saying. I don't know why I keep trying to say it. But anyway, those was just like the warm-up. I'm going to say it. I'm probably going to say it on the next episode, but you know what I'm trying to say. Preliminary. All right. Anyway. So here's my actual first section of the Narrative Podcast. This section is titled the highlight section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm giving the positive frame of reference, providing the positive frame of reference of entrepreneurialism, primarily because we don't have a lot of frames of reference about us doing for ourselves. Because like I said, the media intentionally gives us negative frames of reference about everything. So the last thing they would ever want to show us is us doing something for ourselves. So I want to focus the lens on people, original people that own and operate their own type of business. Because the very few frames of reference about us being professional and owning our own businesses come via, scripted reality television shows. And they always show us in the most negative light as possible on those things. They're always showing us arguing with each other on camera, physically fighting with each other on camera, calling each other horrible names, the most degenerate behavior you can possibly imagine, just acting like, portraying us like nobody attempted to raise us. The whole time, the focal point of the show is supposed to be like about, young black millionaires or whatever, but that gets drowned out with the gratuitous violence and the ratchetness. You don't even focus on that. So all you're focused on watching it is just them behaving badly, behaving unprofessionally, fighting each other, having low morals, and it's all in the name of the ratings, throwing each other under the bus, you name it. But, that's how the producers play that scenario out. They want the ratings. They don't want us to look good anyway. So they want to amplify the violence and the degeneracy. But here, this is the perk of being an audio platform. I can get straight to the positivity. I can take you through an entrepreneur's journey, how they came up with their idea, any type of obstacles they had to overcome into becoming an entrepreneur. Because like I said, the media tries to brainwash and condition us to make us believe that it's not possible to own your own business, and we have to be content with just a 9-to-5 job or whatever, or not having a job at all, criminal activity to support ourselves. So that's basically essentially what I try to do in the highlight section, is just walk you through an entrepreneur's journey, how they became an entrepreneur. So the types of entrepreneurs that I usually focus on in the highlight section are just like the stories of regular people that was working a 9-to-5 job, or, just something that didn't really desire to do, didn't have a passion for it, but was just doing it to, because society tells us we have to, like, financially support ourselves. But through whatever, they decided to pursue what they was passionate about, start their own business, and do everything, they want to do. And the types of entrepreneurs I usually highlight in the highlight section are people, just like I said, regular. They didn't have a whole lot, little to no educational background, little to no finances to start their business, no business plan, no traditional training. Some of them, most of them, because what I'm trying to convey in this section is that it is possible, no matter what your shortcoming is. If you want to start your own business, you can start your own business. Also, people that I feature in the highlight section, they either pay into a nonprofit organization, or they have their very own nonprofit organization. They do some type of philanthropy, some type of community outreach, giving back to the community in some type of way, whether it's, franchise opportunities, training, some type of training, providing the community with financial literacy, digital literacy, giving back to our elderly, our children, or disenfranchised, feeding and clothing, and providing shelter for those without homes, stuff like that. But some type of community outreach. And then many of the people that I highlight in the highlight section is family owned and operated. So in that scenario, I'll be providing the listener with a positive frame of reference about generational wealth, because that's how you build generational wealth, is through your family, like leave it to the next generation. And a lot of these businesses that I highlight in the highlight section are family owned and operated. And then last but not least, it coincides with my theme. And my current theme right now is the season of fall. So now that you know what the highlight section is all about, without any further ado, here we go on the Narrator Podcast, the highlight section. The first business, so like I said, all the business kind of coincide with my theme, and my theme is seasonal, and it is currently the season of fall. So something that happens every fall, we're now in the month of October, and so what we do at the end of the month, every October, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be celebrating Halloween. I'm not going to give you a lecture on why we shouldn't. I try not to shit you on my platform, but it can be fun to just dress up as your favorite recording artist, movie star, or somebody you admire, that's fun, but as a people, we kind of shouldn't be, celebrating that holiday because you don't know what type of spirits that we're summoning. And it's usually like the spirits of the people that oppressed us. So that's one reason why we shouldn't celebrate it. I know I said I shouldn't shoot you to death, but I'm just saying. But since you're going to go out and do it anyway, I decided to, give you some options to help make your choices. Because if you're going to spend the money, you might as well spend it with your own. So today's businesses that I'll be highlighting on the highlight section are not costumes, but actually a genre. And the genre is cosplay. Because while we do dress up, specifically for that one day, Halloween, cosplay is like all year round. So this is like, you can go support these businesses all year, but especially on Halloween, because, the cosplayers, they dress up like their favorite, graphic novel character. Don't you dare call it a comic book. Manga, Japanese manga, anime characters, old throwback television shows. They dress up like that all year round at these little, cosplay events. And by the way, our people is right now financially fueling the cosplay industry. Like all the money being generated in these cons and cosplay events is being funneled from our community. So, yeah. Like Japanese anime and manga and all that, it might have started in Japan, but like it's our dollar that's keeping that industry afloat right now. Like we are the biggest consumers. Our young people is like the biggest consumers and participants in anime culture. Like let's just be clear. Let's get that out there. But anyway, these next businesses that I'll be highlighting in the highlight section are businesses that specialize in cosplay, the cosplay, genre. So cosplay businesses is what I'll be highlighting today in the narrative highlight section on the Narrative Podcast. Quick little misnomer, a little disclaimer I want to get out the way now. For those that listen, they know I just told you I try to walk you through an entrepreneur's journey. So what I like to try to include is like their first name, their last name, the year they established, and walk you through the whole process. And some of them have really intricate stories on how they established their brand. This week, it is not like that. I got the information I got to line up with my theme, so it's super basic today. It would be a little bit longer. As a matter of fact, the highlight section is the longest section of the Narrative Podcast, but this week it's just going to be a brief snippet. So, I got what I got is what I'm saying. I would go more into more intricate detail. I would love to go into more intricate detail, but that's the information I got. It's going to be super short. All right, but without any further ado, diving into the first section, the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast. This company is a one-stop shop for all your cosplay needs. They not only, sell cosplay merch, they also, they do video games, they do graphic novels, manga, anything in that genre, in that, make-believe, anime type genre, they got you. So the site is called blurred.com. And so if you're unfamiliar with this phrase, it basically means black nerd. So, and definitely, I hate to say it, if I was still like in school, I probably would call you a nerd too, if you was into that type of stuff. But, because back in my day, it was Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Mask. Nothing too crazy, nothing too out there, but this like DBZ culture, it's Bleach and DBZ and Fist the North Star, and it's some out there stuff. But anyway, they got you whatever you like, whatever type of anime you're into, whatever type of video game genre you're into, they got you. So the site is called blurred.com. It's an actual community. So they got a whole lot of, specialists in each field, like I just named. Somebody that's a specialist with the video game, somebody that's a special with the cosplay stuff, somebody that's a special with, has a specialty in, graphic art and design and just everything that comes with that culture. But the site's called blurred.com. It was founded by two brothers, CEO and founder, Terrell did I get his last name? Terrell Fields, and Javon J. Breeze. That's his, I guess, hood name, street name, or his nickname. Yeah, his nickname, J. Breeze. Port. You can go on to their website, and basically, what it says, like the limited information that I got is, I guess, the owner, Terrell, or Rel for short, he's always been into anime and manga and all that good jazz, and noticed, of course, there was no inclusion for like people, our children, like in his age bracket. So like this, the Gen Z, and like I said, our Gen Z is the biggest supporters of that genre, and he wanted to create a space where they feel, welcome and not ostracized and not weird for being into that type of thing. So, bam, there you go. Blurred was born. So, like I told you, like super simple and to the point today. Like, it's not a complicated background story. You didn't like grow up in the country on, hard, steel floor, steel wool floor, nothing like that. He's a comic book, or for lack of better words, he was a blurred, and he created a blurred community. So that's what blurred.com is. It's a community for the black nerd. So join me into giving Terrell and Javon a warm narrative podcast round of applause for blurred.com. All right. Next business I'll be highlighting, the highlight section of the Narrator podcast, is On My Senpai. I believe I'm saying that right, and that comes directly out of animated culture. You're going to have to do your Googles to know what senpai means. I didn't do mine, but this comes from a young lady by the name of just simply Taylor. Didn't have her last name. She's when you go to the website, Taylor. Hi, I'm Taylor. It was established in 2021 on mysenpai.com. Says she's from a small rural town in Georgia. Didn't say what town. So probably, if I would have to take a guess, it would probably be somewhere like how it sounded, a small rural town like maybe Decatur. Willacoochee. I don't know. But anyway, she basically started her business in the pandemic during the quarantine lockdown. She also has always been into anime. She also always buying anime type products. Japanesey type stuff. Heavily, influenced by that culture. And as a woman, because it's a original woman-owned, operated business, she wanted some apparel to feel comfortable, supporting her hobby, but being comfortable by doing it. So what she decided to do is develop some type of loungewear. So it's just loungewear with anime type prints. So like on her website, it's like robes and lawn pants for females with the anime characters ranging from all genres. I think her biggest seller is, items from the Narrator universe. So again, the website is called onmysenpai.com. senpai.com. So super brief and to the point story today. Give it up for Taylor and onmysenpai.com. Go support our sister. Oh yeah, and then I forgot to tell you to go support our brothers, Terrell and Javon for theblurred.com. And then one last business. This is really super short to the point for the highlight section. This is a company called Oya Sumi. It was established in 2022 by two twin brothers, Rob and Chris. They developed the company because they had been into anime their entire life. And they wanted a community kind of similar to the, creators of Blurred. They wanted a space where they didn't feel ostracized and weird, so they created Osumi. Now, I will say this, I can say this about their brand. Their brand focuses more on like samurai type stuff, the samurai anime and manga, as opposed to all the other genres. That's what they kind of primarily focus on. But of course they do have like, what's popular, and I would say like in their culture is the Naruto and DBZ, but they're kind of primarily focus on like samurai type culture. Fun fact, one of the first samurai was a black man. You have to do your Googles on that. He was in like the 18th or 19th century. He was like a samurai prodigy. But anyway, join me into giving Brother Chris and Rob a warm narrative podcast. Round of applause for their product, Oyasumi. And you can go hit their product up at oyasumidesigns.com. All right, moving right along. The next section on the Narrator podcast is the Spotlight section. Spotlight section was designed and dedicated to uplift, inspire everyone by uplifting our brothers and sisters online, giving them their roses for, all their accomplishments. That's why I designed the Spotlight section, because we, as a people, we've been duped into irresponsibly using our online presence. We're using our online presence to, fight each other, talk bad about each other, throw each other under the bus, air out dirty laundry. So the types, so what I want to do on the Spotlight section is to just, build self-esteem. Give people the roses while they're here instead of, downplaying them, denigrating them, talking bad about them, dragging them through the mud. Because we're the only people that do that. Like, you don't see that in the Italian community. You don't see that in the Spanish community. Nowhere in the European community do they get online, trade insults. They don't do that in Asian culture. Just us. We're the only ones that took the cheese bait. And we're the only ones that throw each other under the bus. Like no other cultures do it. So for the Spotlight section here on the Narrator podcast, what I wanted to do is just build a platform where I'm uplifting and edifying our people, the types of people that I usually spotlight in the Spotlight section has been people hailing to have a polarizing public platform, such as in the entertainment industry, such as recording artists, movie stars. Yeah, so what the Spotlight section is dedicated to do is just to uplift and empower our people. And the types of people that I usually highlight on the highlight section is usually like people in the entertainment industry, like ranging from like recording artists, actors, actresses, comedians, public figures, TikTokers, YouTubers, public speakers, anybody that has a polarizing public figure that impacts our people and our culture in a positive way. There's some type of philanthropy, some type of give back. Those are the people that I usually highlight in the highlight section on the Narrator podcast. And so I've kind of shied away from that because I don't want to perpetuate the negative stereotype of us not being able to do anything other than being entertainers. But then also, so many of our entertainers, they get a bad rap by the media. So I might start, highlighting, celebrities again, because the only time they're in the media is when they're doing something negative, but they're not. None of the cameras are there when they're helping somebody or doing, some type of community activism or outreach. Other people that I've highlighted on the Narrative Podcast highlight section have been like religious figures as well, religious leaders within our community. But those are primarily the people that I spotlight in the spotlight section. In the last month, I would say I've been highlighting just regular people to show, regular people rising up to meet the challenge, taking up a social cause, whether it's, civil justice or climate or speaking on the homeless or social issues or something like that, something positive like that. But before I dive into the spotlight section on the Narrative Podcast, I always got to point this out. It was my mission to get people within our culture to say positive things about our brothers and sisters, utilize their platforms responsibly to share information about their brothers and sisters, not use their platforms to kick somebody while they're down or to name call or drag people through the mud or, air out dirty laundry online. And I would say it's caught on. I would say I started the wave for spotlighting. Because before I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody anywhere online, YouTubers, TikTokers, other podcasters, was spotlighting anybody. So now every time you tune into a podcast, now every time you watch YouTube or TikTok or, a platform where they're interviewing somebody, they usually start off by saying, today we'll be spotlighting, or the spotlight's on this person and so and such and such and blase, la la. Nobody was doing that until I started doing it. And, as they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. And it inspires me and motivates me to keep doing it. And, it makes me feel good that I'm making a change in the world, because, that is a problem within our community, that we're negatively using our social media platforms to kick dirt on each other's name. We doing the oppressor's job for them. Like, we destroying each other online for the oppressor. Like, But like I said, so many people now are spotlighting people and giving them their roses while they're here and acknowledging their good work that they do in the community. That makes me feel good. So, yeah. I think I was doing it first. So, yeah. Got to kind of toot my own horn a little bit. I'm not in it for the acknowledgement. Like, you don't have to name drop me. You don't have to say you messing with the Narrative Podcast or Halsey Allen. The proof's in the pudding. So many people are doing it. So I'm touching lives out here. I'm creating shockwaves with my platform. So in a good way. So I got to give it up for me.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
way. But without any further ado, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Narrator Podcast Spotlight section. This week's Spotlight goes to a young lady who is a mental health advocate. And the young lady's name is Davida Padi, Davida Forgive me if I mispronounced her name. But like I said, she is a mental health advocate. And our people, out of everybody, that's something we need within our community. Because so much has been done to us and is currently being done to us. So much, psychological warfare is being waged against us. Like this, systemic racism. It's like they just insult your intelligence, try to make you feel as though what your experience isn't real, and they'll play it off like, just look at the glass half full, and just keep a positive outlook and look at the glass half full. They try to play us like that, but whole time the system wasn't designed to accommodate us, include us, or do anything for us. The few of us that actually make it are just exceptions to the rules, and they barely squeak by, and they know it, and that's why they let the world know it every time they're in an interview. They're getting interviewed. They're like, I'm one of the lucky ones that made it out. But yeah, said all that to say, mental health is definitely needed within our community. A whole lot of things that happen within our community is due to mental health issues, like killing people, that's mental health. Stealing, mental health. Abusing drugs because you're self-medicating because you can't mentally take this systemic racism. So you started, self-medicating yourself with controlled substances, all kinds of learning disabilities, behavioral disorders, all get linked back to mental health. And the mental health can get really linked back to diet if you really want to keep it 1,000. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. What I'm really trying to say is, like, mental health is something that we don't embrace within our community, but we got to start embracing it for the conditions that we're suffering to get better. We have to start getting the help. We have to start seeing counselors and psychiatrists and mental health experts, and start talking to somebody, because we've been brainwashed and conditioned with religion to believe that all we need to do is just pray, and Jesus, God, Allah, or the higher power, whatever you call yourself believing in, will just fix it. But nah, you got to do the work. So you have to realize that something's wrong with you and go get the help. And this sister, she created an organization based on the observance, her own personal observance, that there was no mental health resources for original women, black women. So she created her own organization called Eva's Corner, that is basically a directory of mental health services. They have on that website, they have all kind of mental health tools you can use to increase your mental health. All kinds of workshops, blogs to bring awareness to certain types of mental disorders. Other advocacy groups within your area. You can plug in your zip code, it'll tell you where you can go get the mental health. Apps, in-store apps you can do on your phone Like, that's what you will find on Eva's Corner. Plus daily blogs and, you know, things to just keep your mind healthy and strong and running smoothly and efficiently and, you know, not having a nervous breakdown and all that. So that's what she's bringing to the table. So it is with my, you know, utmost pleasure and utmost pride to give this young lady the spotlight on the Narrator podcast this week. Please join hands with me in giving Davida Potty a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Eva's Corner. All right, so my speaking point of the day, my next section is my speaking point of the day. My speaking point of the day, usually I'm touching on current events, you know, worldwide, globally, or something specifically within our community. And I'm unpacking it from our perspective, whatever the issue is. And the reason why I'm doing that, because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this. If you don't tell your own story, your story will be told for you. And that's exactly what the powers that be that control the media is doing in terms of our people and our culture. They're telling our story for us. And so, you know, they'll have us, you know, looking and sounding crazy. So, you know, that's the purpose of my speaking point of the day, is basically to put everything in perspective. Put everything in perspective from our perspective, if that makes sense. So yeah, while I do touch on current events, some days it's just kind of the media is dry, or some days it's like some weeks it's something I feel there's nothing really to talk about, because right now it's just politics, nothing really super pressing, I feel, in my opinion. So today's topic is going to kind of be a remix topic, something that I began talking about on my speaking point of the day. If you tuned in on my live on Thursday, I went live on Thursday. So if you listen to the Narrator podcast when I was live on Thursday, then you know I was talking, one of my topics was about within our community we rely too heavily on celebrities to advocate for us. And I guess I want to just kind of retouch over some points that I feel I missed. And so the biggest point that I feel I didn't drive home at is, like, it's not a celebrity's job to advocate for us. It's not a celebrity's job to, take up a cause, to donate to a charity, to speak on any issues other than entertainment, other than them plugging their own projects. If they're recording artists, getting on talk shows, talking about their album. Or if they're an actor or actress, they're not obligated to do nothing but plug the movie that they was in. They're not obligated to speak on our issues. And we have to get away from that. We can't get in our feelings because a celebrity, don't sound off for the cause. And of course, the cause that I speak of is liberation, the liberation of our people. It's not their responsibility to do that. Now, as an original man or an original woman, they should just naturally, if they got a connection to their people, if they love their own family members, they should use their platforms to, make life better for us. They should just naturally feel obligated, have a sense of obligation naturally without being coaxed and guilt-tripped into doing it. But if they don't have that in them, it's not to us to force them to have that in them. Because everything ain't for everybody, and this liberation stuff ain't for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart, because the powers that be are merciless. You know, it's like it's a whole lot that comes with being a revolutionary, of being an advocate, advocating anything. It comes a whole lot comes with that. Some of the stuff comes with that is getting banned on social media. So if you're not really about that advocate life, you know, that's your bread and butter right there, off the rip. That's the first thing they're going to do. They're going to take that away from you. When you start telling the truth and making them tremble and nervous, that's the first way they're going to attack you in living in the digital age we're in. They're going to flag your video, get that taken down. It's going to be like a little snowball effect. They're going to say you violated a community guideline, woo-de-woo, what have you, flag a video. They're going to demonetize you if you're monetized. They will go out through extensive links to silence you from telling the truth. They go through extensive links, including killing you, to stop you from helping your own people. Like, look what they did to Dolph. Look at what they did to Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Dolph, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. Anybody that provides an answer to a problem that they directly caused, they got to go. One way or the other. They're going to try to lock you up. You know, they'll try to stop you like that. They'll try to stop your cash flow. They'll start freezing up, they'll start attacking you through your finances. They'll start freezing up bank accounts. They'll start, attacking you through the IRS, saying you owe X, Y, and Z and you don't owe nothing. I mean, that's kind of something they do to all American citizens, because we actually, as American citizens, don't owe anything. So, this whole pay taxes thing is a big scam, because how we paying taxes every year, but we're still in $1 trillion deficit. Make it make sense, because it don't. But, that's just slight things. Like, everybody ain't built like that. Everybody can't be a revolutionary. Just everybody's not built to be a revolutionary or an activist. Everybody's not built to tell the truth. Everybody's, not fearless. There's a whole lot of celebrities that are scared they're going to lose everything. So they go along and get along with whatever the powers that be tells them to do. Like, whatever the powers that be tells them to do, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be their little monkey. They're going to make them dance and gyrate and belittle themselves and belittle their people and make a spectacle of themselves for that bag. Or if it ain't for the money, just because they're scared, because they don't apply some pressure and they're scared. You know what I mean? So, like, said all that, say, like, everybody got tight with Drake because he didn't speak on Palestine. Everybody got tight with DJ Khaled because they didn't speak on Palestine. And we get tight with a whole lot of celebrities within our community that don't speak on our issues. And we got to stop doing that, because, one, we're never going to progress as a people if we're sitting up there worried about what a celebrity's talking about, because celebrity, they done moved out the hood. That's number one, first and foremost, that our problems ain't their problems no more. They're living the good life. They're living in the suburbs. They're living in a big mansion. Some of them got an east and a west wing. They might have came from nothing, but, they don't have that sense of obligation to reach back in and provide a way out and provide resources and talk about this dirty, filthy system that keeps our people oppressed and rising up and reclaiming what was ours first to begin with. You know, and a lot of them are just, you know, plain old scared. So we call them, we get on our social media platforms, we get on our soapbox, we call them little coons and Sambos. I don't know what the female equivalent of a Sambo is, but a female Sambo, an Aunt Jane, I guess. I don't know. But it all boils down to they scared. They ain't ready for war. Everybody doesn't have a military mindset. They don't. And we have to accept that. We have to be all right with that. Like, let them live in their world. Because what we don't know is when you become a celebrity, the powers that be, no matter how many million, as long as you're living here in America, they're going to go out of their way at some point during your career, at some point during the peak of your financial independence. They're going to poke you, give you a little poke. The little poke is going to come in some type of form. It's going to come in finances. It's going to come with some property, being some type of power. They're going to usurp from you, just to let you know that they still own you. They're going to try to embarrass you and humiliate you, make you beg on your knees, all that. And all celebrities, they're not cut like that. They can't take that. They can't take it. So they would rather just be submissive and not cause no problems than to fight. You know, fight the powers that be, to fight back, to use their voice, to show them they're not afraid to speak on, you know, what happens in our neighborhoods, to speak on, you know, all the foul things they're doing to our food, all the foul things all these foul mind tricks they're playing on us, attacking our minds, attacking our finances, attacking our health. You know, all celebrities, they just not cut out like that. They entertainers. That's what they there for. Hey, if I'm a football player, I'm going to go on here, I'm going to play football, I'm going to take care of my family. Boom. If I'm a singer, I'm going to sing, I'm going to get up here, I'm going to sing my little songs, my little catalog, go home. If I'm a rapper, I'm going to rap and go home. You feel me? Some of them, that's just what they're there for. They're there for to be what they are, entertainers. They're there to entertain. And all entertainment, if you want to keep it 1,000, is also a tool by the powers that be to keep us distracted. It goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. They use entertainers, minstrels, if you will, to keep the people distracted. Anytime affairs of the state are going on, they would host the gladiatorial games, have some type of festival or something to distract the people from, yeah, we're going to take all your crops. Y'all not getting nothing. Y'all not eating this, season. We're taking it. We're going to take all your food. We're going to take all your crops and your money. You're going to pay more tax and more tax and more taxes. Sound familiar? Because they're still doing it today. Like, if you pay attention, anytime something is poignant that our people, especially our people, our community, needs to be laser focused on, we get some type of, I try to watch my language on here as much as possible because I feel adult language deviates from the point that I'm trying to make, but when it applies, it applies. Anytime we have something going on in the world where our people needs to hyper focus and pay very close attention to, we get a distraction. We get some Hollywood fuck shit that goes viral on everything. You can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. And by the time whatever is going on finally rides out, then a new policy kick in. It's like, well, when did this happen? when did that happen? I didn't even get a chance to vote. Like, when did this happen? When did that happen? It was that week that you was worried about that celebrity, who that celebrity you was sleeping with. You know, it was that week when you was worried about what that very wealthy celebrity's doing with their time and with their money. What you needed to be doing was focusing on the affairs of state, what was happening in your state, with your legislation, with your elected officials. But we can't, because we sitting up there worried about what celebrities are doing. You know, the powers that be uses celebrities to distract us. So said all that to say, no, it's not their obligation to speak up for this. Now, we're blessed, like we're very fortunate that some do, that some actually care. We're very fortunate to have brothers like T.I., Trey the Truth, Big Killer Mike, you know, Ice Cube. We're fortunate to have brothers like that. We're fortunate to have sisters like Queen Latifah. We're fortunate to have sisters like Erykah Badu. We're fortunate to have sisters like Tiffany Haddish. We're fortunate to have sisters like you know, like, well, it's more sisters than brothers, but I'm just kind of drawing a blank. But, you know, sisters like really get down for the movement. For real, they advocate for real. I'm just drawing a blank right now, so forgive me if I, you know, left you out. Any sisters out there getting down, you know, progressing this movement to where it needs to be. But my point is, you know, we're fortunate that we do have the few advocates in our community that we have, but they're not obligated to, you know, speak on our issues or be a champion for us. You know, it takes the whole village to work together. So we all have to do our part. It helps immensely when a celebrity uses their platform to advance the movement, but at the same time, they're not obligated to, and we need to get out of that bad habit of feeling that they're obligated to utilize their platform to speak on anything that happens in the hood. Like, I mean, they should just feel a sense of responsibility, but if they don't, that's all right, because you know why? That means they're a puppet from the powers that be. They made their decision. They're a minstrel. So why would you expect liberation from a minstrel? They're there to entertain. You feel me? So why would you expect an entertainer to, you know, be an instrument of freedom? That's all I'm saying, is just stop getting on platforms. Because number one, they don't care. They can care less. They've already demonstrated. They've said out their mouth and with their actions that they don't care, as long as they're getting their paper. As long as they're getting their money, they don't care. They don't care about their self-respect. They don't care about their self-esteem. They care about that big mansion. They care about that foreign automobile. They care about those 5-star restaurants. They care about that private jet, the Learjet. That's what they care about. They care about their yacht, the Learjet. You know, splurging wealth, going to the European fashion designers, going to the house of Versace and Gucci and buying up, like, you know, their $1 million advance that they got from the record label or the movie studio, and spending it with the Europeans, not putting it back in the community. That's what they care about. They made their choice to care about that. So it ain't no sense in trying to guilt trip them and instill something in them that is not there. Because if it's not there, they're not an asset to the movement. They're a liability to the movement, and we should be glad that they're not trying to be a part of the movement, because that's, they're trying to sabotage us from within. So we should be happy that they distance themselves from us, from the real people down in the soil, making changes, going to the meetings, writing the legislators, building things in your community if we can't get no legislation behind it, starting programs. The real advocates and activists being active. You feel me? Because there are a lot of actors, there are activists. They ain't acting for real, they're there for them cameras. And we know the fake ones. Sitting up there giving turkeys away to the homeless, like you giving raw turkeys away to some people that don't have the means to cook the turkey. Okay, you care. Yeah, you care. Well, we got all the sponsors, like give them the cooked meal. Give them the Get Right pack, the sanitary pack to clean themselves up, and food that's already cooked. If you're going to give them some food, they ain't got nowhere to live. How you advocating for the homeless? And you're overlooking the most basic need. Homeless! They ain't got no house. How the hell are they going to cook a raw turkey? And I'm fixated on the raw turkey because we're going to see a lot of that because it's getting close to that season. It's holiday season. We're going to see celebrities within our community posting on their Instagram and their X or Twitter. It won't be them, it'll be actually their publicists posting on behalf of them, trying to make them appear to be a humanitarian when they're as self-centered as all get out. They're self-absorbed, they only care about self. But they're going to try to make them appear to be a humanitarian when in reality they don't care about nobody but themselves. But what I'm trying to say is we should stop by now, just get over that hump expecting celebrities to be advocates or activists. If it's not in them, then you just got to accept them the way they are and just, support their music, support their films, support their comedy, support them, whatever sports team they're on, because that's what they do. That's all they want to be recognized for. They don't want to be recognized for trying to make a change in the community or make a change in the world. There's like, hey, I want to be a football player. Hey, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a singer. I wanted to be a dancer. I want to design some clothes. I don't feel obligated to give back. Nobody gave me nothing. That's the tell sign of a self-absorbed person. As a self-absorbed person, the first thing out of their mouth is, didn't nobody do nothing for me? And the movement is bigger than all of us. So how we progress the movement is not worried about people who we feel is not doing their part. We got to get out of our emotions and just get with results and just support the people that are doing something. And don't worry about the people that ain't doing nothing. Because the people that ain't doing nothing, they have the resources and they're choosing not to do nothing, instant karma. What you're not seeing behind closed doors is they're living on their knees. They are living in fear of the oppressor. They're scared that the oppressor is going to take everything, all their livelihood. At any given second, they will do and say anything the powers that be want them to do and say to maintain what little bit they acquired. Them little crumbs that they gave them, they want to keep their little crumbs. So they'll step and fetch it and buck dance and do anything they need to do to keep their mansion, to keep their yacht, to keep their Learjet privileges, to keep their 5-star restaurant and hotel privileges. So yeah, So bottom line, stop expecting celebrities to advocate. Like, we're fortunate that we do have the celebrities that are good advocates, that are good, philanthropists and, activists. But, they're not obligated to. So just appreciate what we got and don't worry about the ones you feel should do something, because they're going to get their just dues. They're going to get attacked. Like when you lay down with a dog, you're going to wake up with fleas. Believe me, some of them is flea bitten. You can't even see all the flea bites they got under them fancy clothes. You don't even know how much a price they're paying for what little that they have, that 5-car garage. What the powers that be is making them do that for. What they're making them do to maintain that 5-car garage, to maintain that mansion with the east wing and the west wing. So they're content living at the level that they're living at. But, at the end of the day, you can't take the money with you. So when you leave up out of here, we'll see the legacy when nobody does a tribute, and it's sad because, they got to leave their family here. And when they're wondering why nobody dedicates a day to them or remembers their work after they leave up off this physical plane, is because they never put no work in the community. They never used their voice. They never try to bring about change. They lived for the bag. And, they died for the bag. Or, shoot. That's it. They ain't leaving no legacy behind. Half of them ain't even leaving the catalog behind. Because their art form is such trash. Their raps or their singing or their movies that they're in is such trash. It'll never be a cult classic. If you do listen to it or watch it, it's just because it was on that day. It just happened to be on the radio. You know what I mean? Or it just happened to be on TV or wherever you stream at. So yeah, to summarize and finalize that point before my last section of the Narrative Podcast, don't expect celebrities to be anything other than what they are, entertainers. They're here to entertain. They're not obligated to be an activist. They're not obligated to advocate for anything. If you want the change, you be the change. We all got 24 hours. So when the time you're using to complain about a celebrity not getting down for the liberation movement, you could be putting in time to devise a plan to uplift your people in your community. I'm just saying. We're worried about the wrong things. All right, final section of the Narrative Podcast. And I kind of actually segue to the point. I let a trail of breadcrumbs about what my final thought was going to be about. But for those that don't know, that's not familiar with the Narrative Podcast, my final thought or final word of the day is just a gem, a pearl of wisdom, something philosophical to make you think critically or just ponder about the complexities of life, a wise word. So that's what the final thought of the day is. I kind of, every week, I either say final thought or final word. It depends like how, the message came to me. Because sometimes the message comes to me with just a word. So I say the final word. If it comes to me in a phrase that we always use, I say final thought. So this week is final word, because it came to me just, it came to me. It came to me just like what I just said. And my final thought or final word for today is accept. All right, so not to be confused with accept, but accept. For our grammar police out there, we have a hard time accepting things in life. It is what it is. We have to accept it. Whatever your situation, it is what it is, and you have to accept it. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, and the exception to accepting things is to, you expressing your voice to show you're not compliant with something isn't like you're not accepting it. This is just say I'm not cool with it. When you're using your voice saying you're not, when you're advocating, as it were, it's like if it's something going on within our community, like I said, the movement, the liberation movement, us, marching and advocating, using our voices on social media, that's, the powers that be will say, well, y'all just complaining. No, we accept this systemic inequality, but we're not all right with it. We know the game, we know how it was set up, but we're not all right with it, and we're going to use our voice to tell you we're not all right with it. But we will accept how it is for right now. We accept, there's certain rules, laws, and statutes in place to keep us where we're at, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop fighting for a change. And that's the exception to the accept rule. What's not an exception is if, say, you have a friendship with somebody and y'all just the bestest buddies, and then just one day the friendship just turns. The person just inadvertently says they don't want to be friends with you no more. You have to accept that. You can't spend, the rest of your life trying to prove to this person you're a great person to be around. I like hanging out with you. We do a lot of cool stuff. They said they don't want to be your friend no more. Accept it and move on. In a relationship, those don't last forever. Even when you get married, it's not guaranteed. Just because they say till death do you part, it's very rarely, especially in the era that we're living in now, that marriages last longer than a year. But when it's over, you got to accept it. They want the divorce. They don't want to be doing you and what y'all built. They don't want to do that no more. You got to accept it. Dating too, not jobs. And the funny thing about a job, 9 to 5, is like you already know it's temporary when you go in. If you don't own the business, you're working for somebody. Every day you clock in could be your last day there. So many factors, corporate policy, another company can buy y'all out and get rid of everybody. So you're not promised, 1 year working for somebody anyway. But when it's over, you got to accept it. You can't be sitting up there begging for one more chance and, a chance to prove yourself. And, when it's a wrap, it's a wrap. They're going to, You will know when it's over when you walk up in. You can't clock in. They'll call you back to the office. They'll pull out your employment file, all your incursions. If you had any incursions during your time with the company, they'll read off, why you're being dismissed or why corporate says you're being dismissed. If you live in the at-will state, they don't even got to tell you that. They just like, yeah, they'll let you come all the way over to the job to tell you there ain't no more job for you. Like, waste your time and their time, because you could have been at home sleep or getting another one. Had to give you an advance notice, but they expected you to give them a 2-week notice. Ain't that something? But anyway, when it's over in that scenario, you have to accept it. It is what it is. You have to accept it. It can't be no more than what it is. So with people that can be no more than what they are, you have to accept them. Deal with them or don't deal with them, but you have to accept who they are. Period. That's your choices. Accept it. Well, I'm Halsey Allen. That was my final word of the day. Thank you all for tuning in. Do me the hugest favor. Download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Remember, I broadcast full episodes of the Narrative Podcast every single weekend. So join me this weekend for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. But then also remember to tune in to the Narrative Podcast regularly during the week, wherever you get your podcast from, because I do random lives. I never know which day I'm going to, upload an episode or broadcast live during the weekday. So to avoid missing that, what you want to do is follow me on X, formerly Twitter. I'm Halsey Allen on there. Or follow me on YouTube. Halsey Allen on YouTube. Subscribe to my viewer channel, Halsey Allen on YouTube. Click the notification bell. Click notification all. You will never miss me when I'm live, because the platform that I'm on broadcasts directly to YouTube and Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. So follow me on any of those two mediums, and you will never miss a live edition of the Narrative Podcast. Also, please support my book that I've written. It is titled The Black Card. Currently, it's only available on one medium, and that is the virtual bookstore on poetizer.com. Do yourself the hugest favor. Go to poetizer.com. Go into browse the titles in their virtual library. Or virtual bookstore, excuse me. I said virtual library. It's a virtual bookstore on poetizer.com. Go to their virtual bookstore on poetizer.com and look for the title of my book, The Black Card, written by me, Halsey Allen. The Black Card is 30 poems comprised of pretty much everything we experience within our culture and about our people, the entire, black experience. I know I said I don't like saying the word black to describe us, but I wrote that before I had the epiphany about the word. But anyway, it's about, everything, an all-encompassing book about, what a day in the life of what it's like to be us. Very thorough, witty, creative poems that'll make a great coffee table read, good travel book, good book to just kill some time. Really insightful. You will love it. Go check it out today. Do yourself the hugest favor and go cop your copy of The Black Card, or get your Black Card revoked. Also, could you please support my poetry blog? It's a amalgamation of all my poetry that I write. I write poetry. The written poetry, spoken word poetry. I'm a poet. You feel me? But anyway, I blog. I got a poetry blog on blogger.com titled Hallziespoetrycorner. And please support that. If you like poetry or looking to get into poetry, check that out. The address is www.mrhallziesblogs.com on blogger.com. And again, the name of my poetry blog is called Hallzies Poetry Corner. The way you support it is you either share the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner or a poem. So, yeah. What you want to do is head over to Hallzies Poetry Corner. You can share the link or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner on all platforms, whatever platform that you're affluent on, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, Tumblr, any platform you're affluent on. Share the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner or a poem on Hallzies, featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner on all platforms. Just, share it, whatever you're active on, share it. Now for your visual platforms, like if you're active on YouTube, TikTok, Snap, Instagram, Flipgram, you probably will want to just share, Hallzies Poetry Corner. Just say it. Visit Hallzies Poetry Corner. Rifle off the link. Or, if you read a poem and you actually enjoyed a poem on Hallzies Poetry Corner, you might want to shout out a poem on Hallzies Poetry Corner blog. But, yeah, just, hit that link up. Share poems from Hallzies Poetry Corner on all platforms. And that'd be great. I really would appreciate it. That'd help me grow my platform so I can give you better content. So yeah, thank you so much for listening this evening. It's been real. Sending you love, light, healing energy over everything you got going on right now. And I know you're going to tune in this weekend and join me this weekend for another full broadcast of the Narrator Podcast. So yeah, like I said, please just support my poetry blog, Hallzies Poetry Corner. On all platforms, just share it. If you could, please, that'd be so great. But yeah, tune in this weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. Download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast. I'm sending you love, light, healing energy over all your endeavors that you got before you. Join me again this weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. And remember to tune in, all through the weekday so you don't miss me when I'm live. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to become a narrator, to join me in my quest on changing the narrative about our people and our culture. You can do that by changing the narrative on your social media platforms, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen and the Narrator Podcast signing off, and it's like that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry, my narrators. I think I skipped a section. I never did that before. I went all the way to my speaking point where I plugged everything. I can't just graze over that. I'm glad I caught myself before I brought it to a close. I'd have felt so bad. So another section I have here on the Narrator Podcast. Yeah, I almost pieced out a little bit too early. I smooth skipped over a section. I skipped over my health and wellness section. Now the health and wellness section comes before the speaking point. And I just kind of, I don't know, I had my notes discombobulated. But the health and wellness section tip is just what it sounds like. I'm giving health and wellness tips. Now here's a disclaimer for all health and wellness tips. for all my content, is anybody's free to listen to the Narrator podcast, but just know all the views, all the content is directly aimed at my people, original people. That's my target demographic. So if you're outside of the box, don't feel offended. If I'm speaking things and you feel out of your element, it's because I'm not talking to you. You're more than welcome to participate and listen to the content, but everything on the Narrative podcast is geared toward my people. Having said that, the most thing that's geared towards my people on this podcast is health and wellness. My people are being attacked mentally, physically, and spiritually. They're putting things in our air, food, water, and things we use on a daily basis. The agenda is to eradicate us off the planet. Power is to be. They're not making no bones about it. They put things in everything, harmful chemicals to harm everybody, but especially harm our unique genetic and cellular makeup. They also, like I said, attack us mentally. The things they're doing in the media, the things they're doing with these laws. So the health and wellness section is designed to give health and wellness tips to my people to armor up in all the areas that we're being attacked. I don't cover finances because, like I believe health is wealth. But conversely, being broke is a sickness. So conversely, find you a financial guru to talk about finances. On my health and wellness section, which you would typically hear about, on the physical side of it, I usually typically share with you, my audience, the health benefits of a fruit, vegetable, plant, or herb extract that can eat or apply topically to improve their physical health. Some type of physical exercise that can perform to stay, physically healthy. On the mental side of it, things they should do to make sure they're in good mental health, such as meditation, reading, relaxation techniques, counseling, just things that are good for your mental health. Spiritually, spiritual practices, praying, meditating, fasting, other spiritual exercises and equipment you can use to, get into that spiritual realm and get yourself spirit aligned properly. And every once in a blue moon, I throw out the wild card. I talk about quantum law, divine law, LOA type stuff. But this week, it's more of a PSA. So as we know, the war is on food, especially if you are a U.S. citizen. They're putting weapons-grade chemicals in our foods that can't be sold in other countries. Like over 10 countries have banned our food, banned our produce, banned our meat. Now if you watch YouTube, like the trendiest videos you can watch on YouTube is, what Japanese McDonald's is like, or what Europe Burger King is like, what a Russian KFC is. And what you will see is the quality of their food is better, not because they're more creative, is because they're not using these harmful chemicals that our U.S. government is putting in our food. So today is a PSA to watch out for, how to watch out for harmful chemicals in fast food. Popeyes has over 55 chemicals in their chicken sandwich. KFC has over 40 chemicals in their chicken sandwich. I can go run it down the line. Chick-fil-A has over 50 chemicals in their chicken sandwich. And it doesn't stop at chicken. Of course, they're putting it in burgers too, tacos, whatever. Any commercial chain has harmful chemicals in it. But they have passed a law. The FDA does regulate it to the public where they have to tell you what they're putting in the food. And they put it right in your face, but we never look at it because we're so in a rush to get that crack, that nasty fast food. And where they put the food label warnings at, believe it or not, Ripley's Believe It or Not, is right in front of your face on the back of the cash register. So the next time you go to a QSR restaurant, look at the cash register before ordering. It'll tell you all the harmful chemicals. It'll tell you the adverse side effects it can and may cause, but you got to read it. And if you read it and you're still content with buying that McDonald's, buying that KFC or Popeyes, then more power to you. But you can't say the knowledge isn't there. It's right in front of your face. It's on the back of the cash register. Go read it. It'll save your life. Because if you get sick, at least you'll know what you're sick from. You know, you can kind of backtrack and kind of give your physician, you know, a glimpse of your diet, what you're eating, how many times a week do you eat fast food, where you ate it from, you know, if you get sick. Because sometimes they be having recalls on their meat and chicken too. So you can, like, if nothing else, if you get sick like that, know where you ate, what you ate, what type of chemicals you ate. Lastly, before getting out of here, I don't know if you know about label codes on produce. When you go to the grocery store, there's a code. Here's how you crack it. You know, they got numbers on your produce. I'm going to tell you what they mean. So the 4-digit code means it's grown naturally, but treated with pesticide, which I don't get. How is it grown naturally, but treated with pesticide? So anything with 4 digits is grown naturally, but it's been treated with pesticides. Now here's what you want. You want the 5 and the 9-digit codes. That means it's organic. And then what you want to stay away from is anything with an 8-digit code or starting with the number 8. That means it's genetically modified. So there you go. I gave you, how to crack that food code. And I already did my outro. So I just forgot that section. Y'all take it easy. Be well. Join me again for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. Peace.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.